India has about 60,000 private schools, and we estimate that about 40,000 of them are mass market schools that, just as a rough definition, this is 600 rupees average fees a month or less is really what we're talking about. And these schools are throughout the country. All the major metros, tier 2, tier 3 cities, there are lots of private schools in rural areas. And these schools are almost completely unbanked. Nevertheless, some of them are very, very good, and they're really small and medium enterprises. They have, many of them have between 1 and 2,000 students. So there's quite a cash flow that's coming from these businesses. And, the question that we were asking ourselves several years ago was, how can you have so many of these private schools, all with needing resources to grow, and no one is able to provide them money? Our goal is to show that it's viable, show that schools will pay back, show that schools can improve their physical plant and the quality of their academic programs, so that other lenders are enticed to come and do the same thing. We started lending in January of this year, and we'll finish October with about 140 schools financed, or we've committed finance to 140 schools, which is a lot in that amount of time. We're opening up a second branch in Bangalore in December, and then 2 additional branches in Pune and Chennai in the first half of 2010. So we expect to end 2010 with around 1,000 schools having received finance from us. One lesson we're trying to, grab inspiration from microfinance is that we need to find a shortcut for identifying what the best borrowers look like, right? Because there are no financials, numbers are basically off the table. There's nothing you're going to look at that's at all reliable. So you're really talking about qualitative factors, right? So as we analyze our existing portfolio and the habits and characteristics of the schools that we've already led to, we're realizing we're beginning to see a few of the sort of green flags and red flags that can tell us whether or not a borrower makes sense. So for example, schools run by women are uniformly well-run, buttoned up, responsible financially in the way they plan, and also tend to have higher academic standards. And parents keep their kids in the school. Schools where the owners own the premises are better schools. If the student-teacher ratio is 35-1 or better, the schools are stronger because the school's not trying to squeeze liquidity out of every last teacher. And so there are a number of signals like that are beginning to tell us, or sort of leading indicators that are helping us understand who would make a good borrower and who wouldn't. And this is important to us because our strategic goal is to identify the 10 or 15% of the private school owners who have a combination of business skill to run a school effectively, as well as strong academic results. And those are the ones that we want to keep investing in. We really believe that betting on local entrepreneurs is really going to be the key to achieving impact, right? So that we could we anticipate ending 2013 with between 4,500 and 5,000 loans, right? But if those loans are beginning to go to people who are themselves expanding their education programs and touching more students and touching more students with better education, then the multiplier effect of our work just becomes much greater. In the largest private school market in the world, which is India, we're the only lenders that we have noticed, right? It could be that there are banks or finance companies that are doing odd loans here and there, but not that we have discovered. And in fact, there are not very many school lenders anywhere that we've noticed. The key takeaway is it's surprising that after 9 months of lending, we're somewhat in the forefront, because we don't feel like we're in the forefront, but no one else is really this advanced. From our point of view, the more we can help other lenders, no matter where they are, understand how we're doing it, it gives them some inspiration, and we will learn also. A lot of the sort of innovations that we've introduced have come from comments and suggestions that people who are interested in this field have made.
over 2 years, we would find 50 schools, and we would support the 50 schools accessing those loans that had a cap of $16,000 per loan and a tenure of 4 years. We worked with 20 schools in the old city, and we did some research as to what were their quality outcomes, what were some of their barriers to operating in the slum areas of Hyderabad. And then out of that, one of the main constraints we noticed to them improving their quality was the difficulty to access capital, the constraint of capital. So we approached the HSBC Education Foundation with a project whereby if they put aside $500,000 over 2 years, we would find 50 schools, and we would support the 50 schools accessing those loans that had a cap of $16,000 per loan and a tenure of 4 years. At the end of those 2 years, we had 42 schools that had accessed the loan, and we had 34 schools waiting to take the loan, but by then the money had been spent. CFPT designed and delivered the Educational Technical Assistance Program that went along the loans from the Trust Bank in Ghana. And then from there we did a similar project in Kenya with KREP Bank with the Kenya Private School Support Program. And we've just finished designing a handbook and a video and a CD-ROM on the best lessons learned from the perspective of the school owners, from the perspective of the bank, and the perspective of the development agencies as to how to support private school support programs. Maybe the proof of the pudding is that what's come out of that initial project with the affordable schools in Hyderabad is that we now have a business with about 100 private schools in the Hyderabad Andhra area who have come to us and said, we don't want the loan, we want the educational technical support services, because there's no one providing such services to the private sector market. I always enjoy sitting around for 2 days with people who have are looking for answers to, or chasing the same holy grails as I'm chasing. My only caveat is, I think it's becoming clearer for me anyway, is that we must be very careful as to the taxonomy or the definition, say, of what we mean by affordable. Because in this audience you can sense that there's what's affordable to you isn't necessarily affordable to me, and vice versa. Let's be really clear about what we mean by affordable, and it's very difficult because your response to your answer to that question will determine how you set out to provide the loans and or provide the technical support services, because there are different SWATs for both types of schools. We've still got a long way to go, and we've particularly, I think we've still got a long way, and I think we have two sets of heads trying to come to solutions. On the one hand there's the investment head, the financials, and on the other hand they're the educational heads. And we need more generalists who both understand both sides of that coin. And right now, otherwise we're going to be in danger of providing solutions for either one or the other, but there's not an integrated solution that's actually is what's required for both those higher end affordable schools and those lower end affordable schools. And secondly, probably the business model that's going to work going forward is maybe a Robin Hood strategy, where you take from the have schools and you use that to subsidize how you support or how you take a higher risk profile on the less rich schools.